Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and we are both from UrbanDigs, and it is Monday. So you're going to get your Brooklyn weekly market update. John, things are shifting. Let's get right to it. I'm looking at supply 2,831. Show me that chart.
Yeah, well, not so much in supply. I mean, the trend is in for supply. It is headed up. And again, that's another 2.5% increase in the week before. And that is where Brooklyn supply is. It is steadily increasing. At this time last year, it was going sideways or down. But here we are. We are at the end of the busy season, and supply again is ticking higher.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a trend that we're going to probably have to get used to just for a little bit. I mean, we are heading into summer, so that is not typically a time when supply comes on the market. So if we head higher during the summer, that's something that's seasonably abnormal, and maybe there's some macro changes going on that we have to track and see what's going on. We should always think about the sell side pool and the buy side pool in terms of the depth is always contracting and expanding at all times, expanding and contracting. So if that sell side pool were to be expanding, that would be one explanation as to why supply would rise when normally it's a summer. So keep an eye on this kind of stuff. Let's switch over to demand. Brooklyn demand, pending sales, 3,406 things. Show me that chart.
I mean, it's a tiny decrease, Noah, week over week, but it's essentially going sideways. And I think this is where the real shift is coming in. So you kind of expect, or you kind of really wanted supply to start ticking up in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn still needs supply. But let's focus on the demand side. Demand had been running hot and heavy in Brooklyn for the longest time. And this is the first time we're seeing the broader measure of demand, right? Pending sales plateau. I was going to say flatline and plateau, and I just merged it into one word, plateau. That's basically what we're seeing here. And so now pending sales are actually below where they were last year, which is the first time we've seen that in a long time. So the shift is happening.
Yeah, I feel like it's happening. And you know what? I mean, listen, it's been a long run, and there's macro reasons that's going on right here, and we're just calling it for what it is. Buyers, you're going to get some opportunities, most likely. If you've been looking for opportunities, all eyes on the market right now, all eyes on the market, right. All hands on deck, keep an eye on, track this market. This is now your time to shine, to watch and what's going on relative and spot those things. You're not going to get the best deals by sitting down there, right? You got to do a little work for it. And now's when you got to start that work. If you're a broker, send those messages out to those buyers right now. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, the market pulse is still over 1, so it's still tilted towards sell side, but we're going to track which way that goes in the future. Let's take a look at the weeklies. The weeklies drive everything. That is our microscope on the markets, Johnny. I'm looking at Brooklyn. 302 things came to market. That ticked down just a tad. Show me that chart.
Well, that's another plateau for you, right? Weekly new actives has essentially been at this level for the last 4 weeks. So there's a steady amount of supply coming on. It's a decent amount. But it's not really breaking one way or the other on a weekly level just yet.
Right. Exactly. There's not much to talk about there. We'll keep an eye on that. But contract signed, that's doing something notable. It's going the wrong way, down around 11%, if I'm looking at this correctly. 181 contracts. Show me that chart.
Yeah, it is down. And I think the better way to look at it now at this point is let's look year over year, because Brooklyn demand, I mean, as we just mentioned, was going hot and heavy for the longest time, but it's starting to cool off. And we've had, what's the 4th or so week we've had lower than the previous week. And if you look at year over year, right? I mean, compared to the contract signed this week last year, we're down almost 24%, right? And last week it was 22%. The week before it was down 20%. So we're increasing that gap from where we were last year. So just as Brooklyn was heating up into the white hot territory at this time last year, Brooklyn's kind of coming down from that white hot sort of into red, yellow hot. So the market is still, as you pointed out with the market pulse, still pointed right at sellers. However, you're exactly right. That window for buyers is opening, and you're looking at probably a wider window as we get into the summer.
Yeah, I could see it rolling. I could see the trend rolling over. I could see it kind of shifting away a little bit. I mean, sometimes it's slowly, then suddenly. That's how these things tend to work right over now. And you know what? This is why we track the bids, guys. It's all about the bids. At the end of the day, it's about the buyers, their bids. Where is that bid going? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is there a lot of them? Is it not a lot of them? So this is why we look at this, because this is the liquidity in the markets. And if I'm a buyer and you're going to get discount, you need an illiquid market for that. Right? Like COVID. COVID. You need an illiquid market when there's not a lot of deals going on. Sellers are panicked and they're hitting that gap down bid. That has not happened yet, but this is why we track deal volume. Johnny, let's go over to the chart du jour. We're going to take a look at the Brooklyn rental market. It's just not that you need us to tell you this, but if I had to summarize what's going on here, Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, Brooklyn rents just keep on going up. And it looks like it's at the highest level since we started tracking this a couple of years ago. And I see new listings and I see signed leases. They're both ticking up, but when I look at where they are, they're just at low levels. So,
yeah, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, and if you're following that step by step increase in rents in Brooklyn, I don't think that surprises anybody, especially if you're on the ground trying to find an apartment. I mean, you're if you find one, fantastic. B, if you find it, you're probably just going to have to take your wallet and, you know, maybe your car keys or whatever else you have in your pockets to sort of secure that, because you're right. It's those two lines at the bottom that are ticking up, but they're at low levels. And you basically need that new listings line to get a lot higher. That signed listing is obviously going to follow that new listing line. But we need to see a little bit more supply on the rental level in Brooklyn here to sort of temper those prices. But I mean, Noah, the busy rental season is still ahead. We haven't even gotten there yet.
I was just gonna say, show me something on this chart. Show me something on this chart that does not, that gives some relief to renters. And I can't find it. I can't find anything on this chart, unfortunately, that is showing some sense of relief for renters. I mean, I don't know. We'll keep an eye on this and what the sales market does, if that has an effect on the rental market. I don't know. But just to show you listing discount in Brooklyn. And guys, these numbers are not real time, right? So when we talk about, you know, the first half of this program is about the real time stuff, and we're talking about the market that's shifting a little bit. This stuff is the closing. This stuff is the lagging stuff. This is what happened 3-4 months ago. But look at what we're coming off of right over here. Excuse me, right there. I mean, look at February.
Yeah.
And we had a 0% listing discount from the last ask it printed. What do you say about this, Sean?
No, it's phenomenal. First of all, I mean, look at the discount from original ask for the last couple of months, 1.7%. I mean,
what
discount?
Well,
exactly what discount? But I think that it sort of prefaces the larger question, which is, if the Brooklyn market is slowing down and you are a seller, well, what do you do, right? Well, what this chart would tell you to do is get your price as close to the market as you can in order to get a deal. Because once you're there, right, you're not gonna take that big discount. Not that there is a big discount. I mean, discounts are small, but the whole idea is that the closer you are to the price of the market, what the market is, the faster you're going to transact and the smaller discount you're going to do. So if we're talking about a market slowing down and we're talking about more inventory out there, right, you don't want to be the person who's mispriced, because that's just a recipe for long days on market and higher discounts. So.
Right. And you could probably bet right now that this number is rising, right? I think we're going to look back at these numbers.
Exactly.
And you know what, John, we talked about this on our reports. We talked about the case to list now. We talked about a sell signal in February 2nd, sell signal, the case to list now in December, describing all the Q1. I think when we look back at this, is probably going to be the peak of this cycle. Okay. And again, it was a hell of a run. This is okay. It's okay to talk about it. We're heading into the summer. Sellers got to do what they got to do. Like sellers, you got to do what you got to do. At the end of the day, we don't control the market, right? The buyers are going to bid how they feel based on all the conditions that we can't measure, all the macro conditions. But buyers that are looking for a discount and we're scared to pull the trigger, that's when you get the discounts. So like, if I'm a buyer, again, I just want to tell you guys, eyes wide open on the market. This is your June, July, and August should be your potential time to shine. If this relief comes, it might come quick. We'll see.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. Okay. Johnny, thank you for pulling up all this charts. I really appreciate it. I know the users appreciate it. That is John Walkup. I am Noah Rosenblatt. We're both from UrbanDigs. Don't forget, you guys got questions. We got answers. Visit our forum right down here. If you want any of the reports we talked about today, they're in the premium reports section right over here. Other than that, this has been your Brooklyn Weekly Market Update, and we'll catch you next time.